Big Don Pryor. This
Here we
is
are once again.
once again.
What are we doing?
This is our SEO and Steak and Margaritas podcast. But today we're going to do something a little bit new and different. I am going to ask you 10 questions, and they are steak and margarita related questions. And what I'd like you to do is answer these questions impulsively. But then if you want to fill in and describe your answer in more detail, that's fine. And if I feel a need to pull more details out of you, I'll do that as well. Are you ready for your 10 questions?
We're about to find out.
What is your bottom line? This is question number one. What is your bottom line go-to steak cooking method?
Reverse sear.
Okay, for those in our vast studio audience who do not know what reverse sear is, could you explain it?
Yes, indeedy. That's where you cook it low and slow, usually between 225 and 275, until the internal temperature reaches the desired doneness, which for both of us, I happen to know is medium rare. And then you let it rest for a few minutes, and then you sear the hell out of it on a hot grill or in a hot skillet for like a minute aside.
Very nice. Very nice. Just briefly, if you don't mind, how you seasoning said reverse sear steak?
Well, recently, and usually always, I take a little olive oil and soy sauce and I mix it together and I baste the steak as a binder. Then you take some fresh cracked sea salt, liberally all over the top of said steak, some fresh cracked pepper, liberally over said steak on both sides, maybe even a little make shit good, MSG, to bring out the flavor.
Ooh. I don't know that I've ever used MSG in my cooking. That's a very interesting idea. Of course, as you know, my go-to lately has been truffle salt, which may serve a similar purpose.
Well, that's a finisher, right?
That's a finisher, yes. I was schooled by somebody on the internet after I posted my first attempt at truffle salt steak, and they said, don't do it during the preparation. Do it after it's all done right before you serve it. And I think they were right about that. Question number two.
Internet, it must be true.
100%. All right. Well, we're creating internet content right now in real time. So everybody, don't try this at home. Question number two. Who's been the biggest influence on your approach to grilling steak?
I'm tempted to say Marcus J. Altemeyer III.
Oh, really?
Isn't he the first one to utter the words reverse sear to us?
You know, now that you mention it, that's right. I mean, that was a tiny contribution, but it sparked a revolution. And in fact, it wasn't until you and I started getting pretty noisy about reverse sear that he started actually using the method himself. Marcus J. Altemeyer III. I'll have to let him know. He's a regular viewer of our martial arts podcast, Punch, Kick, Choke, Chat. But maybe he'd like to join in on this one if we stay on the steak and margaritas topic long enough. Question number three. Who do you think is the most influential steak master of all time?
Of all time?
I mean, in our pantheon of steak masters, right? You may or may not know.
It's got to be Guga. The guy makes 2 videos a week about, doing steaks on YouTube.
Mm-hmm. And is that just Guga.com or is it, what's the name of his channel?
I think one is Guga Foods, and that's where he does it on the grill, and the other one is Sous Vide Everything, where whatever he does it sous vide.
Yeah, I'm totally stoked. He was the one that talked about sous videing eggs, right?
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet, but I'm really looking forward to that, where you just separate the egg. It's cooked to 130. You set it on top of your steak, hit it with a little knife, and it just... I can't wait. That's exciting. Number 4. What's a steak method you'd like to try but haven't done so yet?
I'd like to finish it on a charcoal grill, which I don't have, or using a flamethrower, which I don't have.
Love it. Does Elon Musk still sell flamethrowers, or did he stop doing that?
I think that was a one-time deal until they sold out.
Oh,
but they do make those torches that you can get on Amazon or in the hardware store.
Yes, I got to tell you. So I finish steaks on charcoal grill, right, at least 50% of the time when I reverse sear. But after we had a conversation about this a couple of weeks ago, I went in my garage and I went from top to bottom. For some reason in my brain, I have this memory of having a propane torch, but apparently I don't. And my wife informs me we don't. So, like all good home projects, right? The project itself is important, but that tool you get is also important. And so, sometime in the next week or two, I'm going to have a propane torch and put that promise to the test.
A man's got a dream.
Indeed. Well, you're right. A dream is just a dream, but a dream written down and executed upon, right? Now that is a dream come true. If you had to pick, what's your favorite? This is question number 5. What's your favorite steak experience so far in 2023?
I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. Now you're giving me a whole year I have to go.
Well, listen, this is the first time at these questions. You'll get another shot at these at some point.
I know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was bemoaning the fact of a lack of quality Wagyu steaks. And my boy, Nicholas B. Suino, stepped up and ordered me a package that immediately, once it arrived, I tore into it and made delicious reverse seared Wagyu steaks free of charge on my boy, Nick Suino.
Hell yes, man. Well, every now and then you got to take care of your peeps. All right. What's your most memorable steak experience of all time?
Of all time? Oh, boy. Wasn't it you and me and the boys at the top of the MGM drinking 55 Macallan and a cap of ribeyes?
There were some good meals at that. What was it was before
Bourbon
it was
steak.
It was bourbon steak. Yeah. We had some good group meals at that event. Absolutely. Lots of expensive alcoholic beverages. That's what you're going with?
That's what I'm going with. You said to be impetuous.
Yes. Impetuous. I like that word. Impetuous. Okay. Question number 7. I'm 100% sure we're going to have to come back to these questions in the future after they have time to percolate. But today is the first round. This is the test run. Speed of implementation style. Question number 7. What's your favorite food movie or scene in a TV show or movie about food?
I don't know why the dumbest one popped into my mind. What's that scene in American Pie?
Tell me about it. I don't know that I've seen that.
We want to keep this family.
It doesn't have to be family friendly. We can always censor it.
It was a teenage comedy movie, and the kid had never been with a girl before, and he asked his friends what it was like, and they said it was like apple pie. So he went home and he made a mess of it, the apple pie that his mom made.
Oh my gosh. All about apple pie, not about steak. So I suppose if we're going to reflect on this going forward, we should probably come up with something about steak or margaritas, which I admit we've been light on so far. All right, you have 3 questions left. If you could share a meal with any person in history, whether they're alive today or not, who would that be?
I for some reason that thought had popped into my head on the airplane ride to where I am.
Ooh.
And my 2 choices would be either Winston Churchill or Benjamin Franklin, because I think those are 2 of the most interesting people who just happened to be in the middle of everything from the minute they were born to the minute they died.
Amazing. Now, I have no idea what Benjamin Franklin's food predilections were, but we know Winston Churchill liked good food and good booze and a good cigar, right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's a great choice. I would love that, man. That guy, he knew how to party. And apparently, right, he could party like a fiend and then go write a speech that goes down in the annals of history, right? Never to be repeated. What a dude. All right. We're going to go from the ridiculous to the sublime. What's been your most disappointing steak failure?
So sad. I can hear the violins playing.
Oh,
I had a delicious Snake River Farms Wagyu ribeye, and I took all the care in the world. I seasoned it ahead of time. I cooked it even lower than I normally do. I normally like 275. I did 225 because I heard Nick Suino on my shoulder. You got to cook it lower and slower. I made this compound butter, but the compound butter we had bought like a bunch of pre-peeled garlic cloves, like more than you could eat in a year. And Amy's like, well, we can just freeze them, the ones we don't eat. No, you can't.
oh.
So I pulled this garlic out and I made the compound butter, and it wasn't horrible, but it did not live up to the billing that it should have.
Ah, yeah, what a sad state of affairs. Did I mention that I think I mentioned to you, last weekend, you and I were talking about the steaks that I made. I reverse seared them. And the preparation was perfect in every regard, right? Brought the steaks to room temperature, seasoned them, sous vide'd them, finished them on the charcoal grill with some flame so they were caramelized, and it was just wonderful preparation. But I had bought like sale price steaks from Costco, and they just weren't as tender as they should have been. So Costco must have gotten a whole bunch that didn't quite make the choice cut, and they discounted them, and so that was all good. But after, the beauty of that is you buy a tray of steaks for $50, and I feed my family once or twice with them, and then I have a couple lunches and then slice them in tacos, have some steak omelets, and I still had a steak left over. So I can't remember when it was. It was yesterday or the day before. I had this beautiful steak sitting in the fridge, took it out, melted some butter, chopped up a bunch of fresh garlic, lightly sauteed the garlic in that butter, and then I reheated that steak, on both sides in that butter, sliced it up, and took the butter and garlic, put it in a little bowl, and was dipping the steak in that garlic. Oh my God. Like that took a slightly disappointing steak experience and just made it wonderful. Talk about a good lunch. Highly recommend it, but not with frozen garlic, apparently. All right,
Don't do it.
sir. This has been wonderful. You have one final question. This is a chance to go out on an incredibly high note. Speed of implementation style. Describe your perfect steak experience, including any and all details that matter: location, other people, side dishes, drinks, music, all the things that are important to you.
Well, as we all know, if you are in beautiful Maui, Hawaii, that automatically adds bonus points to whatever you're eating.
Yes.
I would say a delicious steak with great friends, in an exotic location. The music can be pumping out of the little speaker, or you can have the live musicians, such as at the top of Fleetwood's restaurant.
Ooh.
With Paul West. In fact, I'm normally an old cranky pants, and I want to go to bed because I wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning to work when I'm in Maui, and so I don't want to be out late till 10 p.m. Right? But this guy he was playing up on the roof of Fleetwood's, and he was so good that we sat up there until 10 p.m. when he had to shut down, and we were eating Fleetwood's is known for their what do you call that? Beef Wellington. It's like, I don't need no namby-pamby beef Wellington wrapped in pastry, but my sister ordered it and gave me a bite. It was just freaking amazing.
Wow.
So yeah, you're got the music blaring, you're in the exotic location, you can see the ocean and with good people, and I like it.
All right. Now there's no way we can end this conversation. There has been a paucity of Margarita talk, which we're going to have to wedge into this. So what was your drink choice of that evening, or have you experienced a margarita worth mentioning in this most recent visit to Maui?
Well, that night, Fleetwood does happen to have a spicy margarita.
Ooh.
Which is quite delightful, I might add. But the other day, where were we? It was our anniversary, and I took the lovely Emilita out to this place called Honu Oceanside. and they don't call it a margarita, but whatever it is has some kind of watermelon infused tequila. And there might have been a slice of cucumber in there, which normally I don't like and I don't care for, and I don't want any stupid watermelon in my margarita. And get off my lawn, you damn kid!
Right.
But it was the closest thing I could get to a margarita, so I ordered it, and I must say it was quite delightful.
Amazing. Awesome. Great way to wrap this up. Someday, when I get back on alcoholic beverages, which will be on September 17th, 2023, I'll have to experiment with, I'm reluctant to say this because I don't really like watermelon drinks of any kind, but maybe, just maybe, at Fleetwood's or somewhere else, it's worth an experiment. All right, sir, that was the first round in a history of the 10 steak and margarita questions on our podcast. We'll do it again. We'll get better at it. But unless there's something to add, we'll call this a wrap.